I just learned about Apache Pinot. Maybe everyone in the world knew about this but me, but I think it's pretty cool. I want to share a little video with a demo on the business problems I think it solves and why I find it interesting. And for perspective, I'm coming to this from Continual. We're focused on production ML problems, and typically our customers are doing batch use cases. Let me give you an example. A typical customer is a B2C company. They have operational data all over the place. Every time somebody clicks on something, that could be an ad, anything else on their website, searching, there's lots of digital data that's generated very frequently. But it's aggregated maybe every night or every 8 hours or so and put into their data warehouse, Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, Databricks. And from there, they do lots of really cool reporting and sometimes some predictive analytics, machine learning with Continual. The result of this, though, is that some executives or stakeholders are reading this who are employees of the company. The data can be is typically a day old in that scenario. And we don't have a ton of performance requirements around how fast our models need to train or those queries need to run, because it's going to be like, hey, it ran overnight. As long as I get there in the morning, can read it, I'm good to go. Every once in a while, though, we get a prospective customer who has a different set of requirements. They need to support lots of users. They want the data to be really fresh. It can't be hours old. It needs to be minutes or maybe seconds old. And they want those queries to be really, really fast. And in those scenarios, they're typically trying to feed either predictions or results back to their actual customers, to the end users of their web application. And Apache Pinot is a great solution here because typically what we see in those solution architectures is some sort of key value store, something like a Kafka or some other variation, where they're building these indexes that require a lot of engineering effort so they can get to those latency, scale, concurrency requirements. With Pinot, you can plug this in, as I understand. I've got this running on an EC2 instance, so I do not have a production deployment by any stretch. But I get a database, and I can write SQL queries where I can start to do some analytics on top of data that could be coming from the reams and reams of data I store in my cheap object storage in the cloud, all those dimensions and fact tables I have in my data warehouse, as well as a lot of that key value data or a lot of that real-time data I might have in Kafka. I ingest it into Pinot, and now my developers can start running SQL queries and sharing those results directly to end users via our applications. I find this really exciting. And while my query here is kind of silly to look at, home run totals by year, the data set is a little bit old because we should see Aaron Judge here as we scroll down. But you could imagine, especially in the context of like a sports betting app or something, where as we're making adjustments based on pitch count, what if you could just really go crazy with the different types of queries that you might want to run? Like not just, well, if it's a 2-2 count and the pitcher throws a slider, what's the batter's batting average? But how does the batter typically respond given conditions like the time of night? Is it game 7 of a 10-day road trip and all those other various things you could throw in? If you could answer those queries with the appropriate latency and scale, and you had all that fresh data based on the last pitch, there's a ton of things you could do. The business applications here seem pretty exciting. It's got me a little fired up this afternoon. Anyway, hope you found this useful.